Tony here from Successful Salons, and today we are talking with our featured expert, Terica. So this is a subject that I'm super passionate about and is something that I wish I'd learned a whole lot sooner than what I did. So I'm super excited to be sharing this with you. So let me introduce Terica. Terica is a transformational life and mindset coach, and she was struggling as a single mum with a thriving professional career, but realized she was emotionally, physically, and mentally bankrupt. It took her losing 2 loved ones 9 days apart to realize that she was not living life. She wasn't even in the back seat. She was in the trunk. Terica has radically transformed her life by taking inspired action from a place of darkness, and now shares those life lessons with others so they too can intentionally create the person they want to be and build the life that they dream about living, just like Terica has. So Terica is a transformational life and mindset coach. Welcome, Terica.
Yay, thank you, Tony, for having me.
I'm super excited to have you here, and I'm super excited to be talking about this in the Successful Salons community and just getting people to understand how important self-care is. So let's start at the beginning. So let's talk, what is self-care?
Self-care is just finding small ways every day to show yourself the love and care and kindness that you show to everyone else in your life. Quite often, we treat ourselves way worse than we would ever treat anyone else. Because we feel like self-care is selfish. And so we love on everyone else, but we don't love on ourselves. And so self-care, really bottom of the line, is just loving on yourself a little bit every day. Doing kind things for yourself.
I love it. It's just being kind to yourself. I love that. I love it. So how can self-care benefit salon owners and their businesses?
It can benefit them in so many ways. When you love on yourself, you raise your vibration. When you're filling your cup, you raise your vibration. And so by doing that, you'll notice that every interaction is different than what it was previously. So for salon owners, really, they're going to notice their social media posts and connections increase significantly, right? Because they're doing more vibrant posts that are connecting more with their audience, and then they're going to have more comments, more dialogue come back because of that, because they're going to be reaching their target audience even more. And for their business, they're going to transform the salon into a place where people want to come because the energy is high, it's positive, and it's just ultimately going to bring them more referrals. More people are going to want to come. More people are going to spread the word and want to come to this space where it's a positive, high vibration environment.
Love it. So for salon owners that do have a team, then I suppose it's that lead by example. But if you're wanting to lift the vibration in your salon, then it starts with you as a salon owner and you being able to fill your cup and taking care of yourself, and then you can help others take care of themselves as well.
Yeah. If you as the salon owner believe in a work-life balance and believe in taking care of yourself, then you're going to be leading by example, as you said, Tony, and you're also going to implement things in your day-to-day business operations with your team that help them also prioritize self-care in their life, have a work-life balance, and that's going to return tenfold in their participation, in their productivity, in their creativity, and then in the interactions that they're having in the salon as well.
Totally. And I think that's what you, just speaking about that, making it a priority, self-care a priority. It's not something that goes on the back burner. It's something that you actively schedule and you actively do to fill your cup. And that will be different for everybody. Like, it's not one size fits all.
Nothing is one size fits all.
I think I think when people think about self-care, they think it means being really indulgent and doing spa days and going on holidays and all those sorts of things. So is that what you think self-care is, or how?
No, absolutely not. Self-care could be something as simple as taking 5 minutes to yourself in the morning to think about how you want your day to go, to journal what you're grateful for, to read a book. It could be taking a walk on your lunch break or midday just to have some quiet space. You could listen to an audiobook that you're enjoying. You could listen to music. It could be getting a mani or pedi if you enjoy those. Myself, I don't like pedicures because my feet are extremely ticklish. So for me, a pedicure is not self-care. It is self-torture. But some people love those, right? So if that is your happy place and you enjoy that, get a pedicure. But it could really be so many little things. Take a bubble bath. Order takeout instead of make dinner. Yeah. Just find a quiet space for a few minutes. Put yourself in timeout for a little bit, right? It could be so many little things. And that's quite often why self-care gets put on the back burner, because we think that it has to be some enormous gesture, something indulgent, and, I can't afford a spa day. I don't have time for a spa day. Well, make a cocktail and close the bathroom door and take a bubble bath. Your family will survive for a half an hour without you.
Or do it when they're all in bed.
While we're all in bed. Yeah, no, whatever the case may be, right? But like, you can sacrifice a half an hour for a bubble bath and a cocktail, right? Really simple. Reading a book, like I said, meditating, exercising, yoga helps a lot of people with quiet space and exercise and flexibility, right? So to start doing a yoga class 3 days a week. That's only an hour commitment 3 days a week. We all have an hour, 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many little things that we can do, but we fail to. It falls onto the back burner because we think it has to be something big and indulgent, and time can, and it doesn't.
No. One of the things that I love for me is self-care. I mean, I have a few, but one of the things that I love to do is, we live in a beautiful city where I am, and we have the beach just down the road, and we've got this gorgeous beach, and we warm most of the time. And so I just go and grab a coffee and sit on the beach, or go for a walk along the beach. And there I come back in such a high vibe.
Heaven.
Yeah, it is totally, just grounding, and I love it. And so, I mean, that doesn't cost anything to go. I mean, you don't have to have a coffee, but
But how long do you take? Half an hour?
Yeah, half an hour to an hour. And once I just feel rejuvenated and just like I'm back in the vibe, then it's one of the most beautiful things that I can do for me.
Yep. I did something. I love the beach as well. The beach is my happy place. And coffee always. I did that. I recently took a road trip. I guess it's been about a year ago now. And I stayed at this hotel that sat up on a hill, and there was a creek down below. And I noticed one morning when I was coming back with my coffee, because again, coffee is life. There was a picnic table seated overlooking the creek. And I thought, I'm going to go sit here. And I just sat there and I watched the ducks in the creek, and, hear the flowing water, right? Because that's so peaceful and tranquil, and just on my coffee. And it was the most beautiful, relaxed morning. And I was able to reflect on so much. Those moments are great.
And can you imagine that for a salon owner, being able to take that time out in a lunch break or anything like that, and going and doing that, how much they would come back into their salon in such a high vibe. It's just... Even
just taking a 15-minute walk,
totally,
you will increase your creativity, will increase your productivity, and you will change your entire mood. So my daughter, through her teenage years, suffered from depression. And there were times where she, and teenage female hormones, right?
I hear you.
Enough said. And there were times I would force her, we're going for a walk. No, I'm not going for a walk. Yeah, we're going for a walk. Get your stuff on. You don't have a choice. We're going for a walk. And 10 minutes into the walk, I'd say, you starting to feel a little better? Yes. But by the time so she was, of course, just pissed that I made her go on a walk.
Yeah.
But by the time we got home, her attitude was completely changed, because you're moving your body, right? You're getting the endorphins, like your entire mood changes. So even if all you can do is a 15-minute walk once a day, you will notice a dramatic change in your overall well-being, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
It's just making that choice or that decision to go and do it, because that's the hardest part, like doing it. But once you decide you're going to go, then wonders.
Most of us take a 30-minute lunch break, right? Most of us. Some people take longer, but you can usually manage a 30-minute lunch break. 15 minutes to eat your food, 15 minutes to walk. The walking also helps your body digest the food. So it's great for your gut as well as the emotional and mental health, right? So if you take a 30-minute lunch, eat the first 15, walk the second 15. That's a really, really easy way to incorporate self-care into your daily routine.
Yeah, I love it. So can you talk us through how you can help people transform their lives like you have done?
It really boils down to, and I'm just going to kind of simplify this, but it really boils down to your habits, your patterns. We all have ingrained in us since childhood what our lives look like today, right? All of the patterns, all of the habits, all the self-sabotaging, everything comes from our childhood. We've learned survival mechanisms at a young age if there was trauma. We've learned from our parents' behavior, right, wrong, good, or bad. We've learned, right? And we've incorporated those into our lives today. And so in order to radically transform your life, you have to be willing to face those demons. You have to be willing and open to go, I've done this for 40 years, but is it serving me? Mm-hmm. And so when I had that rude awakening, when I lost 2 loved ones 9 days apart, I really assessed my life on a deep level. I used to be a couch potato. I used to watch TV all the time when I got home from work. Why? Because I could zone out. I didn't have to participate in life. I could just watch the drama unfold on TV. I loved reality shows. But that meant that I could check out. I didn't have to be present and fully participate in my life. The habit I changed to replace that was I would still sit on the couch, but now instead of turning the TV on, I would listen to an audiobook or a podcast, something that was inspiring, that was motivational, something that would feed my mind with a positive result instead of reality TV, drama, chaos unfolding in front of me, right? Because I mean, those people made me feel really good about my life, but again, it was just a form to check out. So this enabled me to then instead feed my mind and learn new things, learn things that other people were doing, learn new philosophies, hear other people's perspectives, right? So feed my mind. And another was incorporating walking in my lunch break. That was a huge one, that activity. And I would even do that when I was at work. I've been in training for 20 years. And so when I was trying to write curriculum and I would have writer's block, I would get up and I would take a walk, even if it was just to go fill my water, go to the restroom, or if I was able to go outside and take a walk. But I would come back from that rejuvenated with a clear head, creativity back, and I'm ready to go. Because I gave my mind that time to just stop, right? And then it all comes flowing back in once you stop, but you have to pause.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things I did? I'm trying to think. There were so many. I really just had to assess life. Food. I would eat food for comfort. What sounded good, I would eat till I was on the verge of throwing up. I was so full, I wouldn't stop. So changing my mindset on food and recognizing that food is simply fuel. And if you put in shitty fuel into your car is going to run like shit. Same with your body. You don't want your food to be cheap, right? Or greasy, and or else you're going to see those results in your body. And I had a lot of gut health issues because I was not eating for fuel. I was eating for comfort. So the food that I was eating, just so many different things that I realized I had been doing in my life, and these patterns and habits that have existed my entire life, but they were no longer serving me, and I needed to create new habits. Habits, though, here's the problem, Tony. Habits take, on average, 66 days to create. So how many times have you started something new and you fall off the wagon day 23 or 12 or 7?
Or 2.
Or 2. Well, usually we make it to about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days, and then we fall off the wagon. So with that, like, these have to be, you have to be fully committed to these for a long period of time. You can't fall off at day 4, or there's no point. Why even try to create a new habit? And so that's where we go wrong a lot of times, is we fall off the wagon. So how can I build this new habit into my everyday life? So again, sitting on the couch watching TV, that was a habit, but picking up the TV remote was no longer allowed. I restricted myself from the TV remote, and instead it was, get your earbuds, you're going to listen to a podcast or an audiobook, right? So how can we now incorporate these new habits into our everyday life to ensure that we continue until these habits are completely formed instead of falling off the wagon because we've lost track. But that also comes down to prioritizing, right? Where are our priorities? Is transforming our life a priority, or is it just like, yeah, if it happens, great, but if it doesn't, yeah, whatever, I can keep going the way I've been going, right? How committed are you to transformation?
So that's a really good thing, because that brings me to my next question. So some of our salon owners are on the floor working 6 or 7 days a week, still got their businesses to work on, marketing, social media, finances, and they still have their partners, children that require them to be present. So this can feel super, super overwhelming for them. So what are some of the tips that you can share to help them to make themselves a priority?
Look at your schedule. When is the best time for you? Is first thing in the morning? Do you want to get up 15 minutes earlier so you can have some quiet time before the rest of the family wakes up? Is the bubble bath with a cocktail in the evening a better time after everyone's gone to sleep? Is taking a walk on your lunch break best because it's your lunch break, so there's no impact to anyone, right? Look at your life. Again, there's no one size fits all. We all have to find what works best for us in our daily routines with our families, with the family dynamic, the work dynamic. Like what are we going to be able to incorporate with the least impact to others? And it's going to be easy for us to stay on that path, creating that new habit. So for everyone, that's going to look a little bit different, really. Some people don't like reading books or listening to podcasts, right? So maybe they want to find something else that they could do. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga, but find what works for you. I love reading. I love learning. I love massages. Like those are almost right up there with the beach for me, because that's quiet time when I have no distractions. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to worry about anything. That's completely me time where I can process my thoughts and I can decompress, whether it be sitting on the beach with coffee or getting a massage. So really it boils down to like what works for you and what is going to be the best new habit for you to create in your life.
So one of the things that I'm happy to share, one of the things that I do for me is I wake up probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half before anyone else in my house. And that's my time. I sit there and I journal and write down what I'm grateful for. And then I do some meditation, and then I actually read. I read a book for about 20 minutes. And it's an inspiring book. And I love that time by myself. I was having a conversation with somebody else the other day, and she's got 3 kids, and she doesn't go to bed till like 1 a.m. because that's her time out and it's uninterrupted, and that's her time. So it is going to be different for everyone, and what everyone does in that time is going to be different as well. But it's, again, like you said, it's finding what works for you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be an hour and a half. Like that's what works for you. But my sister hates mornings. She wouldn't even get up 15 minutes earlier if she had to, right? So for her, she puts her kids to bed at 8. They have a strict bedtime schedule, and then it's her time till she goes to bed around midnight. But some people don't want to get up earlier, or I don't want to get up an hour and a half earlier, Tony. So I'm going to get up 15, 20, 30 minutes earlier. It's whatever works in your life.
Totally. I love that. So why are the reasons people don't make self-care a priority in their daily lives, and how can they turn this around?
Number one reason, it feels selfish to put yourself first. As women, it's just been ingrained in us. I think it's just in our DNA. We've seen it with our parents. I mean, the previous generations, the mom stayed home and raised the kids and took care of everything, and the dad went to work, right? And now it's 2018. Things have changed a little bit, but it's still ingrained in us that we are the ones responsible for caring for and nurturing and loving on everyone and making sure that everyone else is happy and taken care of and well adjusted and blah, 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 right? But the reality is that's not all on us, right? So we feel selfish taking time out for ourselves. So often you'll see women who look like they have their shit together, and you'll compare yourself to them, and you'll be like, oh my goodness, she has 3 kids too. And she her hair's always done, her outfit's always on point, she always looks like everything's controlled, her kids are never throwing temper tantrums. But I want to remind everyone that we all have our struggles, and nobody has their shit together. Nobody. So what we often do as women is we cover up where we're struggling because we don't want anyone else to see that we're struggling. And we wait till we get to that breaking point. So self-care is not selfish. We need to take that time out for ourselves on a daily basis. But we quite often don't, because we're trying to uphold that image and we feel like self-care is selfish.
It's so not selfish.
No.
So not selfish. You talk about gratitude as the new attitude. I love this. So, because so often you hear people talking about and focusing on what they don't have, like the right team members, lack of clients, lack of money. How can focusing on what you have and having gratitude for what you have in your life right now help someone move forward?
When you change your attitude to gratitude, abundance will come your way. And so when you're focusing on lack, you will continue to lack. But when your focus changes to gratitude and being grateful that you have a life of abundance, you have a family who loves you, you have a roof over your head, you have a salon. Your salon may not be thriving, but do you have business? Right? Because you should be grateful for the business you do have if you want to grow your business. Because if you're constantly focused on the lack, that is permeating into every aspect. It's coming out in your website, your social media, your day-to-day interactions, right? You come from that place of desperation and from lack instead of coming from a place of abundance. So be grateful that you have a business, that you have clients, that you have a roof over your head, food on the table. And we often forget that being grateful means every little thing in our life. Every little thing. It's a beautiful sunshiny day. Mm-hmm. I can get up in the morning and walk to the beach and drink a cup of coffee, right? Like all of these little things that we forget to be grateful for, and instead we focus on what we don't have. But when we focus on what we don't have, all we're doing is inviting more of that into our life, which you don't want, but you keep focusing on it. So more of that lack keeps coming to you because that's where your focus lies. So instead focus on what you're grateful for, what you do have, and then abundance will come. It's really, it sounds so simple, right? But it's really difficult to change from that mindset of scarcity and lack to abundance. It takes a lot of work, a lot of affirmations. Mm-hmm. And you'll hear people say, oh, but I don't have, or, oh, instead saying like, well, right now I have this. How about if I move forward with that instead of focusing on what I don't have? But it's really being conscious of what you're saying, using affirmations. I put stickers up all over around my bathroom mirror where I know that I'm going to be looking in the bathroom mirror every day, right? Like I have to do my hair, brush my teeth, makeup's, negotiable. But I have those stickies up so that I can be reminded of the things the new mantras that I want, the new self-talk that I want.
I have exactly the same all around it. And my husband said to me the other day, he's like, do you think that you want to update them? They're getting a little bit. And I was like, okay. But I was just like, he reads them too. So it's very cool. That's what I do. I love it. I love it. Is your self-talk is driving you. So can we dive a little bit deeper into this? Because I think this plays a major role in making you number one priority.
Yes. So often we think of ourselves and then treat ourselves as less than. And so that's actually one of, like you said, what's one of the challenges in there is I want people to ask others for, what do you think of me? Tony, what are my strengths? What do you think of me? What kind of person am I? Because I want to hear your unbiased opinion, right? Because mine is biased. Like I'm flawed. I mess up. I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I wasn't as good in that interview as I could have been. That video wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, right? And so we're constantly criticizing ourselves. And that's the talk. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I totally fucked that up. I could have done so much better. That's the talk. But would you say those words out loud to your child, your partner, Would you tell your kid, you really fucked that up, you should have done a better job? Like, no, but you'll say that to yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Without question, you will say that to yourself, but you would never say that to a loved one. And so we have to start focusing on, what is that internal dialogue? Are we beating ourselves up because we did something wrong? That conversation didn't go as well as we thought it could have, whatever the case may be. Are we beating ourselves up about that, or saying, you know what? I did the best I could in that moment, and I should be proud of what I did accomplish, right? Which is what you would say to your kids. Like, you did a really good job. You did the best with what you had. Like, I'm so proud of you. But we won't say that to ourselves. So really focusing on that inner dialogue and changing the language that we're using to speak to ourselves, because we have tens of thousands of thoughts run through our head on a daily basis. How many of those are negative in your head right now?
Yeah.
Right? How many of those are self-sabotaging? How many of those are putting yourself down? And let's start changing those. And that's where those affirmations, like we discussed, putting sticky notes up with affirmations where you're going to see them on the daily basis, that helps change your self-talk. Journaling helps change your self-talk. But then also asking others what they think of you, and remembering their kind and loving words next time you go into a self-sabotage mode.
Totally. I love that. And I think in the collection, Terica goes through some amazing tips, and she takes you through, and there's workbooks and everything, but takes you through on how you can make self-care a priority in your life, and how you can fit it in daily as well. And she has all these great tips and challenges in there for you. So if you want to get hold of all that, then jump into Successful Salons Club. And also, Terica, how can people, if they want to work with you or get in contact with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so on social media, on Facebook, I'm on Instagram at Terica Wright Life Coach. And then I also have a website, which I'm actually in the process of redoing right now. So expect some changes to be coming soon.
We love change.
Yeah, right. It's time for an upgrade. It's www.tericawright.com. So it's just my name.
Cool.
And then, like I said, social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
Cool. And I will put those links up for everybody as well. So Terica, I hear that you have a special offer for our Successful Salons community.
That I do, Tony. Thank you. I'm doing something very special for your community that I've never done before. I'm going to offer them a very special introductory rate of $397, and that's US, for 3 90-minute in-depth coaching sessions. And they're going to focus on their specific needs, their intentions, and their goals, what changes they want to see, what obstacles are in the way, what do they want their life to look like 6 months, a year from now. Each session is going to include energy work, coaching, call to action items, and then materials to empower their forward momentum. And the reason this is so important for me is because as a woman who had completely lost herself and received a very rude awakening, and I've now radically transformed my life, I'm on a mission to help other women do the same. So many of us are struggling. We're trying to do it alone. And we don't stop and realize, like, there's help. There's things that I can do. Let me ask for some guidance. Let me get some experience. And there's not a one size fits all, but I've tried a lot. I have a lot of options to offer, and I'm quite creative and can get creative with some of those options as well. But I want women to reclaim their power and find their authentic voice. I want more women to be living happy, fulfilled lives and not constantly be running on empty. I want them to be serving others from a cup that's overflowing, not a cup that's depleted. So it's really important to me to help other women find themselves again and start living a happy and fulfilled life.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. And thank you very much for such a wonderful offer for our community. I'm sure they're going to take you up on that offer. So, Terica, I love talking to you. I love chatting with you, and I could chat to you for ages.
I know.
However, time doesn't allow that today. So I just want to say thank you very, very much for being our featured expert in Successful Salons Club. And actually, thank you very much for sharing this with all of Successful Salons community.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Tony. So grateful and happy to be a part of your community.
Oh, I'm the one that's grateful. But thank you very much, and I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, you as well. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.